Hello everyone, you're back with HackConf 2021. I'm Krasimira Angelova and you're about to be watching our fifth talk for today in divisional track. Our fifth lecturer for today is Subby Angelov, who is a team lead at Nemetschek Bulgaria. Currently he's leading 9 teams and over 80 people, so he definitely knows how to lead people. Today, he's going to share his leadership experience and his insights on how to be a conscious leader. So please, big round of virtual applause for Subby.
Thank you. So we're expecting to see the presentation, I guess, or we see it. And I would like to start with a story. Story of a very successful business person who decided to change something in his life and to spend more time close to the nature. So he decided to quit his big town job and went in the country to create a dairy farm. And in order to do that, he has to buy several cows to milk them. And he was not very experienced in selecting cows. So he got deceived from the merchants of cattle and got cows who are not very well suited for milk job. Even so, after a month or so, he started winning all the competitions in the area because his milk was the best milk. His cows were giving the most milk. So on one of the ceremonies where he was about to take his award, he has been asked, "What's the secret? How can you do this wonderful job with those cows?" And he replied that everything is initiative from inside of the organization. And they asked him to be more specific, and he said, "Well, I go to work every morning and gather the cows on a something like morning scrum meeting, and I ask always one and the same question. What do we do today? Milk or meat?" And this demonstrates, I hope that everyone is bursting with laughter after this joke, although I cannot hear anyone. But this story comes to say that leadership can be effective for very different reasons. And we remember good and bad leadership in our organizations. And we like some styles, we do not like some other styles. But in order to find out which things we like about leadership, I have prepared one poll. So during my preparation for this lecture, I was reading a lot and I gathered 20 of most popular things that good leaders do. And I would like to ask you to go to this poll and rate the 10 of those that you will read, the 10 that you like the most, the 10 that you think are the most important. And I will show the results there live. So once you are doing this job, we will be able to see what do you like about leaders, what do you think they do good. You have to pick 10 of those behaviors or traits in order to find out which do we believe are the most important things good leaders do. So this is a sample of 20 leadership styles or traits or qualities. So let's see. I don't know if everyone is seeing that. Can you go there and just do the poll I would appreciate that. Oh, we got one successful. I hope some more will come. Yeah, it's a good, good list of 20, and I have some idea, hopefully, uh, which will be the most important. So we have to go there and slider.com. And the key is what good leaders do. So I have run this poll several times, so I pretend that I know what will happen, but we will see. I organized my talk according to my initial information. So we have 21 people. Okay. So let's go down and see what else do we have. It's quite alive. Thank you for that. Thank you for your participation. Okay, it is moving. We'll do this exercise for a few more minutes. And I see which are the most popular. There is already there is one surprise for me, which I'm delighted to see, but I'll tell you later which exactly was surprised me and why. So I organized my talk according these things, what good leaders do. So there will be slides for most popular ones, and at the end we'll have slide for those that are usually at the bottom. So what we will see will represent most of the things that you see here, not exactly in this order, but good portion of them. Okay. So we have 60 answers, which is very, very good number. I will leave that for further notice, for further information. Some of those, most of them are part of the talk that we will do in some seconds. So I'll change that. I'll still leave it open, but I'll change that to the presentation. Thank you for that. And before to continue with the actual talk, I would like to make one note. I've read a lot on the topic, and it seems to me that we humans started using leader and manager, those two words, quite interchangeably. So the difference between them blurred. However, if an alien comes to our Earth and starts reading all the things that we write about leaders and managers, may have the impression that leaders are the cool guys and managers are those boring bad guys. Even clever sayings like leaders do right things, however managers do things right. I don't like that we see leaders as competitors of managers. In my opinion, there are two different things, and both are needed. Leaders give us directions, and managers are making things happen. So both are very needed. Both require skill and charisma. And one distinct difference is that manager is assigned role. This is something that our organizations assign us to do. And team leader, even the name suggests, includes leader. Team leader position, for example, is a managerial position. It's part of our organizational structures. Uh, and and regarding leadership, everyone can be a leader uh, in different circumstances. Leaders are those who people simply wish to follow. And those are the guys we will talk about today. So with your permission, I will go to the first of these characteristics. And my idea is to speak on each one of it and possibly give some advice whenever possible. So one of more important things, even you stated it as important thing in the poll that we did, is to be resilient, to stay cool when things get tough. And it is very important to be calm and give people confidence, because we are influenced by senior people in our life. Uh, they're senior because of age, position, status, money, income, whatever. But we are influenced by senior people. And when those people are calm and we see their example that they are not afraid of what's going on, so they do not panic, we tend to calm ourselves as well. And the trick to do so, to stay cool, is just to realize that unpleasant things and unexpected things are not interruptions of the real life. They are the life. And well, when you have the mindset that uncertainties and problematic situations are quite normal, then we tend to accept all these things without fear, with calmness, and just staying cool. And this attracts people. Uh, Not knowing what's ahead is just a peaceful idea. And behaving confident or being confident doesn't make any difference for the others. I don't like very much the expression fake it until you make it, but regarding confidence, this works a lot. Nobody outside of our mind knows whether we are really confident or we act confident. It is absolutely the same thing. So a bit of optimism and just realization that problems come and go, and we solve them is the trick to stay cool on top of the situations. Another very important thing is to take responsibility. This also was quite high in the list of the poll. Um, so it is very unlikely that we run out of interruptions and problems, and we would expect that next problem will come very soon. And who are we going to turn our eyes to when there is a problem? This is very unlikely to be the person who is passing the blame, finding an excuse. This very much means that next time he or she will do the same. So taking responsibility is very, very important for those who are for those who want to gain our trust. So if you want to trust someone, those persons should be responsible when things go wrong. And responsibility is a very strange thing in the last 2 decades. Uh, very very different than it was in medieval times, for example. Taking responsibility, in fact, means not a lot. There is no huge consequences. No one will get your head off for some minor problems. And I rarely hear for someone get fired for uh, minor problems. Even politics do not resign when there are obvious problems in their government. So nowadays, taking responsibility is really easy. It's just feel a little bit uncomfortable and not looking very well in front of people. But this gives the idea that you're ready to feel uncomfortable when there is a problem. This means that you are very likely to address it very seriously next time. So there are two options really when the situation comes to someone to accept to take responsibility. And the first one is to demonstrate that you don't really care, or to demonstrate that you can easily pass the blame to someone. And the other option is to demonstrate that you are thinking how we could do this differently next time. And this will put you in the position that you will be the leader for the next situation to come. And let's be honest, leaders are those who should anticipate or fix problems. They have the view, they have the information, they have the power. So it's really their call to accept responsibility. It's their fault when things do not well wrong. Responsibility builds trust, and never play the blame game. And if the blame comes to you for some reason, this is your chance to become, to take some of the uh, leadership light. Uh, Leaders have huge amount of bank account of trust. So it is very much okay to spend some of it just by taking responsibility. The next thing I want to talk is how to acknowledge others and why to acknowledge others. But before that, I would like that we see one video which shows us something very interesting. It's a very short video, 2 or 3 minutes. Colleagues, can we get the video on?
So a final experiment that I want to mention to you is our fairness study. And so this became a very famous study, and there's now many more, because after we did this about 10 years ago, it became very well known. And we did that originally with capuchin monkeys, and I'm going to show you the first experiment that we did. It has now been done with dogs, and with birds, and with chimpanzees, but with Sarah Brosnan we started out with capuchin monkeys. So what we did is we put 2 capuchin monkeys side by side. Again, these animals, they live in a group. They know each other. We take them out of the group, put them in a test chamber. And there's a very simple task that they need to do. And if you give both of them cucumber for the task, the 2 monkeys side by side, they're perfectly willing to do this 25 times in a row. So cucumber, even though it's really only water in my opinion, but cucumber is perfectly fine for them. Now, if you give the partner grapes, the food preferences of my capuchin monkeys correspond exactly with the prices in the supermarket. And so if you give them grapes, that's a far better food, then you create inequity between them. So that's the experiment we did. Recently, we videotaped it with new monkeys who had never done the task, thinking that maybe they would have a stronger reaction, and that turned out to be right. The one on the left is the monkey who gets cucumber. The one on the right is the one who gets grapes. The one who gets cucumber, note that the first piece of cucumber is perfectly fine. The first piece she eats. Then she sees the other one getting grape, and you will see what happens. So she gives a rock to us, that's the task. And we give her a piece of cucumber, and she eats it. The other one needs to give a rock to us. And that's what she does. And she gets a grape. And she eats it. The other one sees that. She gives a rock to us now, gets again cucumber. She tests the rock now against the wall. She needs to give it to us. And she gets cucumber again. So this is basically the Wall Street protest that you see here.
So I hope that you enjoyed the video. My point was not to compare people with capuchin monkeys, but to show that most of the animals who are living in social groups have built in very deeply in their life the idea of fairness, and we have the idea of fairness as well, and we have to be conscious about that. Giving credit to people is usually free of charge and means a lot. In fact, in our poll, you put it on the first place. So if I tell you that Marin, a friend of mine, picked the colors for this presentation, and Yasin found all the graphics, and Bobby helped me verify all the quotes, those names do not mean anything for you. And if by chance you like this presentation, I, as your speaker, will take most of the credit. And you will remember that my presentation had nice colors or nice images and however. And you will not remember the names of Marin, Yasin, and Bobby. However, for them, this short sentence would mean that I'm ready to share the glory, if there is, with them. I'm not going to take credit on something that they did. And they will be willing to work and share with me their work because I'm happy to share the prize with them, and I would position them in the best possible way. So my advice is just giving credit is absolutely free. It costs nothing and means a lot. Probably this is the most meaningful instrument that you have when you are leading people, and it emphasizes the connection between you. It builds trust and so forth. So contribution, just show the contribution of others. Even emphasize what they did, more of what they did. Just give them some of the things you did and very minimal, and just say their names every time when you can. My advice is to get yourself the book Give and Take of Adam Grant. I like this book, and I think this very much describes how our society works, givers and takers. All very interesting book. You can find it in Bulgaria as well, and it is exactly on this topic. So going further down, we came to inspiration. Inspiration is a very interesting thing. It works on emotional level. No numbers, no logic. They can help you build your point, but they cannot help you bring the spark in people. And one very famous speech of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he managed to inspire the whole nation to fight against segregation in the States. So the famous I Have a Dream speech, just go and check it out. So inspired, emotionally charged, inspired people are willing to give blood, sweat, and tears to do something which is new, which is hard, and this will give them joy and happiness. So the way inspiration can motivate someone is really, really, really very strong. But let's do not make a mistake that motivation is inspiration. The cows in the joke that I said in the beginning were motivated by fear. So we can be motivated by a lot of things. Inspiration is something different. To inspire someone, you have to describe the future in a very perfect, bright way. So this vivid picture can stick in people's mind, and they are willing to work to go there. However, if the description or the idea is not very good, people start asking themselves, what if problems? And then we have to keep the group focused on the future state of the world. And to keep them focused, I can give you advice for keeping focus. It's not rocket science, however, it's not easy. Humans are problem evasive creatures. We don't like problems, so we like to see everyone who has a solution for our problems as a leader. We follow those people, and there are two kind of people. Some people are trying to evaluate all the problems, all the dangers that might happen, to calculate the risks, and there are different kind of people who are just looking for solution out of the situation. It doesn't matter how many problems can happen, just looking for a way out of it. And those are the people we like to follow. So we don't have huge amount of very dangerous problems in our daily life lately, since we have home food and everything more than we need. But we tend to find ourselves different kind of issues, problems, and some of them we try to solve them in groups. So we are that kind of animal that we can gather many ideas in order to have plenty of options. So group thinking is this kind of a way to create so many ideas which we like, until the moment when we have to choose. So at some point we have to choose which to implement and which to throw away. And my first advice here is just stop worrying about problems that you don't have yet. So if there are ideas which somehow include problematic situation, just if it is not present, if it is not very likely to happen today or tomorrow, let's not discuss it on the first round of ideas. These are not things that move you forward. Of course, it's good to predict some stuff, but usually, if you're not worrying about problems that you have not yet, that would be a good advice. And to do that, I would encourage you to find Socrates' questions. In ancient Greek, Socrates invented kind of system to argument with an opponent, which is very useful nowadays for keeping yourself focused and keeping the group focused. So we do it all the time, every day, several times a day. I do it with all the team leaders of all the teams that I am responsible. I'm doing it with all the people I'm coaching. So the first question always is, what do you want? And this pretty much is easy question. What I want for in this particular situation is quite easy question. And the second one goes right away. Does what you do help you go there? And sometimes it happens that what we do and what we say is not necessarily closing the gap between now and where we want to go. And there is good reasons. There are good reasons usually behind our behavior, but it is not necessarily related, aligned with the goals that we put to ourselves. So this is the third question. So if it is not aligned with the goal, why do you want to do it? Why do you say that? What's the point? And when we discover what's the reasoning behind that, we go in the beginning and check if this aligns with our initial goal. If it is, so good so far. And if it doesn't, we have to reevaluate our focus. And this is very simple exercise. You just have to make it very honest and very often. Uh, Regarding focusing, I would encourage you to check Greg McKeown Essentialism. This is a book from where this picture comes from. And the second book of this same author is Effortless. So focus is really easy thing, just hard to do it. So we're moving forward with good decision that team that leaders are good decision makers, and this is quite natural. Uh, when we do good decisions, this brings the level of stress down, so everything goes fluent, and we don't have a lot of things to worry about. However, bad decisions may lead to bad situations, and I've seen people who are trying to convince everyone that this, in fact, was not a good decision and this is the better decision, just by playing with the fears of people. So just by saying something like, "Well, it is better that way. Can you imagine if it was if it was different? It could have been a lot worse, for example." And sometimes you definitely need this strategy, uh, especially when you cannot change something in the past, and even if it wasn't your decision, if you hadn't power to change that in the past, you might need to convince someone that this is for the better. But I wouldn't advise that this is the first option. However, poor decisions have their place. Mm, we tend to remember bad things in our life 4 times more uh, intensive than the good things. So bad memories and bad decisions usually uh, make very, very deep memories. And from there we get experience. And experience is very useful thing, I would say. And second, bad decisions bring to good stories. Can you imagine uh, a story starting like, she was about to do the right thing, and she did the right thing. And that's it. The story is over. So no good story starts with good decision. Most of them starts with bad decisions. So we need bad decisions. But we would like to make a good decision most of the time. So experience always helps. But my approach is accurate information and calculated risks. So I try to develop some way evaluation to evaluate the risk in the future, and put some data in there. It's not always perfect mathematical or logical model, but this scientific approach usually helps you stay out of emotions, because they tend to um, emphasize some areas of the decision and can twist the 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 way you're thinking. So data and some calculation usually do the trick. And when you do that, my advice is to go and search for more data and more accurate data, because information is the thing that gets old the fastest. And to get more information and more better quality of information, open and informal communication usually helps. Those who have good communication with others find information very easily. And in order to have open and informal communication, usually people need to be honest and act with integrity, which is also very important for the leaders. Because dishonesty and lack of integrity usually brings unpredictability. And when someone is unpredictable, uh, there is tension, there is lack of trust. And the thing that a leader least need is lack of trust. So values, just stand behind your values. and values cannot be explained with two sentences. You have to explain why you take some decisions, so in time people get to know you, how you operate, what are the drivers behind your decisions, behind your way of reacting to different things. This is especially important when someone will take your place, someone will replace you, or you're creating or moving out of a team or a process, and you will not be able to be there on a daily basis. So explaining values, explaining drivers is very, very important in order to keep uh, the people to keep people knowing you and keep all processes work the same way as you build it. Okay, so we're moving forward, and this is a place where we'll do something different. So I would love to invite you to play a game in 3 rounds. So let me describe you the first round. And the first round goes like that. You browse around where you are and use some object. For example, I see this bottle and I say bottle. Then I see my phone and I say, oh, phone. Then I see my monitor and say monitor. Then I see window and I say window, and so forth and so forth. And the game is that for 30 seconds, you will name the objects that you see. Just browse around the room, and I would like to see how fast you can go. So can we do that? I hope that there is a yes. So just look around you, and whatever you see, you just name it. Just name it. Are you ready? We will do this for 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, start. Just name each object you're looking, and then select another one and name it as well. You can repeat them. Okay, 30 seconds went, and this was the first round. The second round would be almost the same, but instead of saying what you see, I would like to ask you to say what you just have seen. So if I see the bottle, let's take, for example, the picture behind me. So I can see the water tower in my, I don't know, this is right. So the water tower, which is behind of me, and there is a building. So I'm looking at water tower. I don't say anything, but when I look at the building, I say water tower. So when I look at the clouds, I say a building. When I look at my headphones, I would say clouds. So I say the thing that I just moved my eyes off. I hope it's clear. Let's do 30 seconds, please. Again, say what you just have saw. Go. Okay, and the last round would be go and check every object around the room. You can pick any object and you can say whatever word you like. For example, I'm looking at this watch. I'm looking at it and I say blue. And I see my phone and I say elephant. And I see my mouse and I say angry. whatever, absolutely whatever. 30 seconds, and we're running for speed. So let's see how many things we can do. 3, 2, 1, go. 30 seconds, please. Okay, so I don't know how many of you played the game, but I have a question, and I would like to invite you again on the same place where we did our poll, and to and I have a very simple question for you. Which was the easiest round for you? Please, those of you who played with me, just tell me which was the easiest round. The one that you speak what you see, the one that you speak the previous object that you have seen, or the last round, which you speak whatever you like. Which was the easiest? Which was the fastest one for you? Yeah, this is somehow something that we would expect. So the first one is easy for us. This is the way our mind is trained to operate, to get all the senses, vision and speech and what we hear, and just align them to make complete picture of the world. And it's very unlikely when we have to do this task to delay one of the senses for some reason which is awkward, especially in this situation. So my point is that the third one should be the easiest one, because the rules does not prevent us of picking one object. For example, I see this phone, this watch, and instead of saying watch, I just stay looking at the watch and say water, 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 water. So I'm not even changing my side. I'm not changing the world. I can still say the same thing. The problem is that we don't see this as a proper thing to do. We see it as cheating. And if we were doing this all together, someone would figure this out. And we would be angry that this idea didn't came to us first initially. And then we would say, but that's not against the rule. This is not according to the rules. And in fact, the rules do not prevent us doing exactly this thing. It does seem different, but what I want to say is that most of the time we stop ourselves of inventing new things. We stop ourselves to say, yeah, this is good enough, let's try it. We are afraid what the feedback would be, and is stopping us to continue. Instead of just waiting to see what would be the feedback. So this is my really advice for each one of you. Don't stop yourself. Most of the time we are stopping yourselves, not someone outside of us. And this was everything for the top part of the list. And I would like to note 4 things which I believe are foundations of every leadership, and they do not usually go very high in the list. So the first one, listen more than you talk. Nobody learned anything by talking. And my advice is to speak last. People try to conform with superiors in age, rank, experience, and status. So if you need information, honest information, just speak last. Generate urgency. So we would not move if we don't have to. And leaders are the people who are changing the world. They have to convince us that the effort that we will invest is worth doing it. So they really generate urgency. And managers are the people who are working with each one of us. However, leaders are those who find common goal, common ground. They rely on something that unites us all. They rely on masses and to bring energy into the initiatives and to bring together different people. So they find common goal. And the last but not least, communicate clearly. If people are not understanding what you're talking, what's your idea, where you want to bring them, they will not follow you. So practice this and you'll have more followers. Thank you, dear all. This was all I have prepared.